What's going on, everybody? Hello, we are live from the winter meetings. How are we doing? We got some breaking news here. Edwin Diaz going to the Dodgers. I mean, we just had Kyle Schwarber going to the Phillies, and then all of a sudden we got Edwin Diaz going to the Dodgers. What is going on? I can't believe it. I am live here from the winter meetings. I had to find one little spot over here on some kind of like a table. I'm literally kneeling down on one knee right now because there was not a table available. We are in the trenches, ladies and gentlemen, and I think this is the first time I am live on this channel without a hat. I can't believe it. We've got no hat here on the channel. What is going on, everybody? How are we doing? Again, we're on a makeshift setup here. We're on the laptop. A lot of familiar faces here in the chat. What's going on, everybody? Chris, James, Elephant, how are we doing? Hello, hello, hello. Breaking news. Wow. Two of my predictions from my winter meetings predictions came true in a matter of like 2 minutes. I said Kyle Schwarber was going to sign and the Dodgers were going to land a closer. And there you go. Schwarber back to the Phillies, which is the team that I was thinking he was going to go back to all along. And the Dodgers, they've been looking for a closer. You know, they've been looking for a guy to shut things down at the end of games. I mean, Tanner Scott, he was a little inconsistent this past year. So that was not surprising to me, but the fact that they got Edwin Diaz, that's pretty crazy. That is a bombshell right now, so we're getting everything ready here. Let me get everything pulled up. Let me go to the pass and tweet. We'll share the screen over here. We always got to give the credit where it's due. Jeff Passan, I met him yesterday at the winter meetings. Here we go. Let's get right to it here, everybody. All righty, sharing the screen. That is not working. That is not, hold on, we're coming. All right, here we go. We are here. Let's pull this up. All right, there we go. All right, we're in business, ladies and gentlemen. So Edwin Diaz and the Dodgers are in agreement on a deal. Will Salmon was on it. And Jeff Passan, Kyle Schwarber come back to the Phillies, 5 years, $150 million. Listen, I was saying all along, to me, the Phillies, Schwarber, it was perfect. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of other teams that could have used Schwarber. My Red Sox absolutely could have used them. The Reds, I thought, would have been an amazing destination for him. The Pittsburgh Pirates, they could use bats any way they can. The Mets were in the mix. The Phillies were in the mix. I just think in the end, the Phillies are the best fit. He has a great relationship with the city, great relationship with the organization. He's good for the clubhouse. He's one of the leaders. If the Phillies lost him, I mean, they were going to be losing so much power. I mean, obviously, anyone that would lose Kyle Schwarber, you're going to lose a lot of power. But the next guy up when it came to home runs, you know, Bryce Harper, I still think is a great player. But, you know, that big bopper in the middle of the order, you know, it feels like every year with Harper, you know, which Harper are you going to get? You're going to get the MVP Harper, or are you going to get a decent Harper? So Schwarber, he is that rock right in the middle of the meat of that lineup for the Phillies. They could not lose him. I figured it was a matter of time, you know, and for Schwarber, I figured too, you know, this is a guy that was going to test the market. He was going to see what was out there. And if nothing was going to be, you know, a better situation than what the Phillies were giving him, I mean, I figured he was just going to go back. I mean, you know, pretty much simple, nothing really else to say on that. So not surprised about this signing. However, Edwin Diaz here, this is very interesting for the Dodgers. Funny enough, I was ready to just talk about Kyle Schwarber here for the next 10, 20 minutes, but Edwin Diaz here, wow. This is great for the Dodgers bullpen, man. Oh, look at that. Can you believe this? Ladies and gentlemen, look at this 1-2 punch at the back of the bullpen. I know, Tanner Scott, he had his issues last year, but you look at the track record with Tanner Scott. I think he's going to be much more comfortable in a setup role, a guy that can be used as a weapon at late in games. I think that's going to be the better situation for him instead of just being the everyday closer. Diaz, you know what you're getting with him. And this is pretty crazy with Diaz because to me, he was just a Met. That's what blows my mind about this. This guy, to me, I figured was going to go back to the Mets. He was going to get himself, you know, a nice new deal, restructure the contract, and bada bing, bada boom. But the Dodgers, they are just going to keep ruining the hopes and dreams of all Major League Baseball fans out there. And good for the Dodgers because this, you know, a team obviously coming off back-to-back World Series, and now you're going to be going for a three-peat here in 2026, and you got one of the best closers, if not the best closer in all of Major League Baseball. This is an insane move for the Dodgers. I mean, just look at the pitching staff here, with the starting rotation, with the bullpen. Diaz, Scott, Vesia is going to be coming back. And to think, they won that World Series without Vesia. That's pretty crazy. Blake Trinan, he's not getting any younger, but still good arm. Gratterall, can he get back to his old ways? They got guys back here. They got young pitching all over the place. They got all this starting pitching. This Dodgers team it's pretty hilarious at this point. I mean, what else is there to say? It's pretty insane. What do we got going on here in the chat? 600 people in the chat. Thank you so much. Antonio saying, looking handsome. I appreciate that, my friend. I'm doing my best. You're saying I never needed a hat. It is weird. I feel naked here on this stream. I realize, I don't have my hat with me. And my goodness, I can't believe it. How are we doing? Oh, so Diaz got a 3-year deal. Look, okay, 3 years, guessing close to 60. Man, oh man. Yeah, we got to see the contract. Let me see if I can. Is there anything on the contract going on here? I'm waiting for someone to come up to me and tell me, excuse me, sir, you cannot be using this table. Can you please leave? Who is the doofus redhead on his laptop on this little table? As you can see, there's people all around me. They're walking by. They're probably looking at me like, what the heck is this guy doing? Get this weirdo out of here. But what do we got? So Jorge Castillo. Let's go back to Will Salmon here. Okay, so 3 year. Okay, Ken Rosenthal is saying 3 years to him and both Will Salmon. I wonder if there could be an opt out in there. Is that going to be a straight 3-year deal? Not so sure about that, but let's go pull up the numbers. Man, Edwin Diaz on the freaking Dodgers, man. Are you kidding me? But I'll tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. We are cooking now. It's not even noon. It's not even lunchtime. I haven't even had myself a sandwich at this point, and we got 2 moves back to back. Oh, 369? Is that what it is? Passon just tweeted out. Again, I'm going to need all your help, ladies and gentlemen. My doofus self is on a freaking laptop in the middle of a hotel lobby. I don't know what the heck you all know me and my potato brain. I can barely even handle myself in my own studio, let alone in the lobby of a hotel. What the heck am I even doing here? What do we got? Passon. I don't know where Passon go. Hold on a second. Passon. All right. Okay, here we go. 3-year deal, $69 million. Wow. Man, oh man. Got the best closer on the market, setting a new AAV record for relievers. Unbelievable. I mean, take a look at the numbers here. Take a look at these numbers. A 1.63 ERA last year over the 62 games, 2.28 on the FIP, a 2 WAR for a reliever. That is fantastic. 13.3 strikeouts per 9, under 3 walks per 9. A half a home run per 9. These are disgusting numbers. Edwin Diaz, he is right in the middle of his prime. The Dodgers are an absolute powerhouse, ladies and gentlemen. I had someone telling me on, TikTok of all places, oh, the Dodgers, they're not looking for a closer. What are you talking about, Robbie? The Dodgers don't need a closer. Well, whoever that was out there, I can't help but say I told you so, because the Dodgers, they were absolutely looking for a closer. I was thinking maybe Robert Suarez could have been a guy for them, a guy that has experience in that division, right? Of course, the Dodgers, they're known for breaking Padres fans' hearts all over the place. But this is the way better move. The fact that they got this done, this is fantastic. But here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. Now this is going to open the floodgates. Schwarber's off the market. Now a team looking for power, you got your eyes on Alonso. I think Alonso could be the next domino to fall. We got the report yesterday that he was coming here to the winter meetings and meeting with the Red Sox, meeting with the Orioles. The Orioles still feel a little weird to me. I promise you that's not biased. That's not Giraffe Nick Robbie talking over here. But the Orioles, you have to do a couple of things there. You're going to have to find a way. If you did bring in Alonso, you're going to have to find a way to move Kobe Mayo. What do you do with Ryan Mountcastle? Does he stick around? You have to figure things out, right? You got Basayo, Rushman, probably sharing duties between catcher and DH if they hang on to Rushman, which I do think they will. So, the Orioles are interesting to me, but they obviously like him a lot. They want that power bat in the middle. But the Red Sox, I think, make a lot of sense for Alonso. we'll see what ends up happening there. But I wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of movement on that today. I mean, it is, the night is young. It's not even the daytime yet. It's still 11:37 here on the East Coast. I know a lot of Dodgers fans are just waking up right now, seeing the good news. But we're going to start seeing some more of the floodgates opening, I think. The Red Sox, again, I'm not trying to be biased over here. I'm really not. But I do think they're heavily in this market. They're tied to a few different guys here. Bregman, of course. Alonso, we've already talked about. Ketel Marte has been popping up in trade rumors. Yeah, I think the Red Sox, they're going to do something here in the next couple of days, man. And especially now that Schwarber is off the board, because that's someone they were interested in. That they really like Schwarber. I think they felt, I don't know. My guess is they felt that was probably a long shot, because that connection with the Phillies was just so strong. What do we got here? Let's go to the chat. 600 people in the chat. Haircut looking clean. I mean, listen, guys, I'm not ditching the hats, all right? Don't get used to this. This is a winter meetings only special, okay? Winter meetings only special. And then Mike as well, obviously Bo Bichette in the mix for the Red Sox as well. They've been showing some interest. So I think the Red Sox, they have seeds planted in many different areas, and I think they're ready to go here, especially now that Schwarber's off the board. Giraffe Neck Mark is heated. I mean, I'm not surprised. Mets fans should be devastated right now. Dennis, Robbie, you should do this more often. You look great. We're talking more about my haircut instead of Edwin Diaz here. What is going on here, ladies and gentlemen? We're at the winter meetings. The energy's high. The hearts are pumping right now, and all you're talking about is my haircut. My goodness. My new haircut. One of my favorite videos ever on YouTube. Who knows what I'm talking about? My new haircut. That was like 10 years ago or something like that. Like 12 years ago. Remember that guy? The guy from Jersey? He's like walking around with his new haircut. I love that video. The Dodgers are not playing around. Let's go. They're not playing around. And good for the Dodgers. Good for the Dodgers here to go make this move. Looking at the Blue Jays, going after Dylan Cease, being aggressive. They were 3 outs away from a World Series. So, okay, we're going to go out there and we're going to drop over $200 million over the next 7 years to land Dylan Cease. This is what the Dodgers should do. This is what they should do. Go out, go for a three-peat. Go be the next Yankees. Go be that next evil empire, right? Go be the first team. You're already the first team now to have back-to-back since the Yankees. Well, now go be the first team to do the three-peat. This is like a once in a few decade possibility here. So to me, the Dodgers, and especially the fact that they were able to get Diaz on a 3-year deal, that shows to me they obviously want to improve the team, but they also don't want to get locked down possibly to a lot of long-term deals. Diaz, nice, clean 3-year deal. I don't think there's a lot of risk with that. So I think for the Dodgers, man, this was a good happy medium for them. You could say even more than a medium, because they're not getting tied down to a long-term thing, and they get the best closer in baseball, right? Because there's not really a whole lot of areas for the Dodgers to improve. If you're looking at this Dodgers team, sure, could you use another outfielder? Yeah, sure. Could you use an upgrade there in left field? Why not? Yeah. But to me, if you did need, you had to put Roki Sasaki in the closer spot. So, obviously they don't want him as the closer long term. They want him in the rotation long term. So this is why the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I think they're probably going to go after a closer, So good move for them. The question is, what is the next move for the Dodgers? Are they going to go after an outfielder? You got Pages, you got Teoscar, you got Edwin you could put out in center. Would they feel better off putting Edwin at second base? Don't forget, you do have Hai-Sung Kim. Do they give him the opportunity at second base, or do they move Edwin there and then Kim could be more of a utility guy off the bench? I think you could possibly say that. If they were to go after a left fielder, is Kyle Tucker still going to be in that range? I think it depends on, is Tucker going to get the long-term deal? If Tucker doesn't get the long-term deal, then listen, I don't think you should write the Dodgers off. I really don't. I think if the Dodgers feel like they can get him on a few years, maybe with an opt-out or whatever it is, then I think the Dodgers could still be in play for that. I don't think this takes them off the table because, again, it's not a long-term commitment here. So that's kind of where I'm at. Or could they go possibly, for a lower tier option if we were to go to the free agent tracker here? Could you have a reunion with Cody Bellinger? Again, I think to me, it's like, if you're not, if you're not going to go for a long-term deal, I think there's only really a few guys. Bellinger, he's going to be looking for more than a few years. So I don't know. I have a hard time seeing that. Could you do Bader? I think Bader could be interesting. Or could you take a flyer on maybe Ryan O'Hearn? He'd be more full-time outfield at that point. Could you do Mike Yastrzemski? I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw some kind of reports about Mike Yastrzemski with the Dodgers. A good veteran guy that you could have there. I like that fit a bit there. Or, it depends on what would they want. Would they want a right-handed hitter or left-handed hitter? I'm not so sure. But I wonder if Yastrzemski could be an option. I do like the idea of Bader there. I don't know. I could see them maybe taking a flyer on someone like Austin Hayes. A guy that, be a good platoon there. I don't know. Even like Rob Refsnyder. Good veteran guy like him. Right-handed bat. That would be a platoon. So, I don't know. Would you do some kind of a platoon there? Edmonds a switch hitter. You got a couple of righties. So I think you could go either way here. That's kind of where I'm at. I think if they can get Tucker for a few years, I definitely think they'll be in play for that. If not, I could see someone like Bader, maybe Yastrzemski, maybe Austin Hayes. I could see that. Or a deal or a trade, right? Don't forget, you got Jarren Duran out there. Could Stephen Kwan be available? They do need more contact in that lineup, I think. So we'll see. We'll see. The Dodgers, I don't think, are done. I think there's going to be more moves for the Dodgers. That's just my gut. But this is a big need. Now, let's get back to the Phillies here before we really start to wrap things up. Again, I am here live at the winter meetings. As you can see, people are trickling on by behind me. And now, what's the next move for the Phillies? This is interesting. Well, now you can sigh. You can have a sigh of relief here if you're the Phillies. So your big need is crossed off. You needed to bring Schwarber back. You couldn't let him go. Now, what are you going to do here about Nick Castellanos? I think you need to make an upgrade here. I think you need to find a way to move on from that last year of that contract, eat half the salary if you have to, send him to, I don't know, send him to the Sacramento A's, something like that, whatever it is, right? Then, it's funny with Castellanos, kind of reminds me of like David Justice from the Moneyball A's. Well, they're paying half your salary. What did he say? They're paying half your salary to get rid of you. Could the Sacramento A's do something like that with Castellanos? I don't know, but they need an upgrade there. So could they have a Harrison Bader reunion? I think that was a really nice fit. He played very well there. The Phillies, I think it's just a matter of how far are they going to go in free agency now that they've spent $150 over $5 for Schwarber. So I don't know. It's interesting. I do think Justin Crawford is definitely going to be in the mix for center field. I think that is. I would pencil that in. I feel pretty good about that. That guy is looking really good down in the minors. Even if not opening day, I could see him at some point this year. I've been seeing some ideas out there about trading Justin Crawford. I'm like, man, that guy's a really good player. Got speed, makes a lot of contact. I don't know if he's going to be up to the level of his dad, but still very good, very talented. Lots of upside with him. I think really if you were to improve in an area, it's got to be right field. So defensively, Nick Castellanos, he's not going to have it. Could you maybe do something at third base? Here's the thing. I feel like Alec Boehm is I think Alec Boehm is a guy that probably sticks around, and he ends up kind of just being there until Aiden Miller's ready to go. Because at this point, it's like Aiden Miller's the next guy up. So I kind of have a hard time seeing Boehm getting moved, unless they feel like Miller's ready now. So that'll be interesting to pay attention to. Could they maybe make an upgrade at second base? I like Bryson Stott, but not a whole lot of upside offensively. I love him defensively, so he is going to give you very good value. He was a 3-WAR player this past year. So Bryson Stott, sure, 719 OPS. That's not sexy by any means, but he does a lot of good things on the other side of the ball. So he's a valuable player for your club. Question is do they want more upside offensively? I don't know. We'll see. JT, I left off the other guy here. What does this mean for JT Realmuto? What does it mean? Are they going to bring him back? I think they need to bring him back. I mean, what are you going to go, Rafael Marchand? He's going to be taking care of this pitching staff? All these dudes in this pitching staff, Sanchez, Luzardo, Nola, Walker, Painter coming up, Zach Wheeler, he'll be back at some point. I don't know. Do you trust Rafael Marchand at this point to handle the pitching staff? I think you have to keep JT Realmuto around. I don't see how you let him go unless you make a trade for another catcher out there. I mean, or could you go for... The thing is, JT Realmuto is not going to be very expensive. He is not going to be very pricey. I don't know. Danny Jansen would be cheaper. I mean, could you go to him? I don't know. Caratini? Something like that? I don't know. JT Realmuto, to me, I think you got to pay the money for him. That's just the way I feel. If not, then you can't just go get any catcher out there. You got to get a guy that's going to handle a pitching staff well. He's a big part of that team. You can look at the numbers with JT Realmuto, whatever. You can scoff at, the numbers regressing a bit at the plate. It's what he does behind the scenes that is so important for that team. But they can't just bring guys back. They need to make upgrades as well. So, I could maybe see them adding to this bullpen. Again, that's the big thing, though, is right field for me. They need to make an upgrade there. They need to do something a little different. Could you maybe go a bit more towards the youth? I think Justin Crawford is going to be a nice addition here when he's eventually ready. Maybe Aiden Miller could get that call at some point. So, I don't know. Another idea, if the Phillies are fully set on Aiden Miller for the future, could you move Alec Boehm now and maybe go get like a stopgap kind of a guy? I don't know. Could you do Eugenio Swan? I don't know. I would think like a 1-year deal or something like that. Like a 1 year with an option. Like someone like Moncada could be someone. Again, if you're just looking for a stopgap between Boehm and Miller, right? Where maybe you could shoot for more ceiling for 1 year. I don't know, though. Or are you just better off with Boehm at this point? Boehm is going to be a free agent soon. I think he has 2 more years of control. Hey, he's a free agent after this year. That's what I was thinking. He had 2 more years of control. I think they're just going to hang on to Boehm. And I think Miller, he'll work his way into the lineup at some point, whether there's like an injury or whatever else. That's how I think it's going to play out. I don't think Boehm's going to get moved. If he had 2 more years left, I could see him getting moved. But no, I think that's the way it's going to be. Right field. That's the area the Phillies need to upgrade there. What do we got going on here in the chat? We got 600 people in the chat. Live at the winter meetings. How you doing, everybody? What do we got? Dennis, I would like Boehm for the Angels. I think that could be a fit. James Hirota, I think Yastrzemski. Yeah, I think Yastrzemski could be a very good fit. Good veteran guy. He feels like a good Philly to me. Robbie, I'm afraid as a Reds fan, our only big splash is re-signing Pagan. I hope not. No, here's the thing. The Reds and the Pirates, they have planted their flag that they are out there and they are interested. Now, how far were they willing to go for some of these guys like Schwarber, Alonso? I don't know, but they're out there. They better go make a move or 2 or 3. They both need bats. Connor, Robbie, are you interviewing for a front office job? No, I'm not. I am not. We are doing just media here for these few days. I'm going to be doing something with Lou Merlone, hopefully Tom Caron of Nesson at some point in the next couple of days. We'll be doing a live show for Foul Territory tonight over on Monster Territory, so come on out for that. We'll be talking all the Red Sox stuff going on. Robbie, find Craig. Tell him to do something. Craig's cooking. You've seen a lot. Here at the winter meetings, what's pretty cool is you've been seeing a lot of GMs. Like I just saw Mike Elias walking by earlier. AJ Preller was just casually walking around last night. He was just like, when I say casually, I mean like literally, guy was taking his time. He was in no rush. He was just walking around. Whatever, had no care in the world, And we saw the Kevin Acee report yesterday that the Padres, they were looking at a few big moves that could be like Juan Soto trade level. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, if they are looking, they're not doing it right now, or maybe, I don't know, because Preller looked like he was just relaxing yesterday, walking through the lobby. So, yeah, you've been seeing a lot of the GMs. I saw like Chris Getz, Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner of the White Sox. They had like a whole mafia around him. Like the guy had like a circle, like an entourage around him. That was pretty hilarious to me. The Giants had this big old posse just walking through. And I did have a guy from the Red Sox yesterday actually come up to me. Really, really nice guy came up to me. He says he follows the channel. And this is a guy that works in like the Red Sox analytical department. And he came up to me and said, "Hey, Robbie, I'm just letting you know I'm a big fan of what you do." And I'm like, wait, hold on a second. You're with the Red Sox. I'm a big fan of what you do, my friend. So that was pretty cool. The fact that someone actually like working within the Red Sox like actually said that to me, I thought that was pretty awesome, right? Jeff Passan, talked to him yesterday. That was cool. Froggy, well, Robbie, what would a Isak Paredes trade to Boston look like? I'll be honest, it wouldn't cost much. The fact that they're asking for Peyton Tolley and Connolly Early, no, those guys have way more value than Paredes. Here's the thing with Paredes. It's not a knock against him. He does have pretty good projections for the next couple of years. Anywhere from like a 2 to a 3 WAR player, I think, is a safe bet. However, his salary is going to be close to $10 million this coming year, and then it's going to go up again for arbitration next year. So when you factor in the amount of money that he's going to be making over the next couple of years, take that away from what he's going to bring on the field, then there's not a lot of surplus value. Like there is surplus value, but no, not at the level of Peyton Tolley or Connolly Early. Those guys are on, basically minimum salaries at this point, and they have all the upside with a ton of control. So the fact that the Astros are asking, reportedly, that they're asking for Tolley or Early, I think is absolutely bananas. Listen, you always got to shoot high, right? If you're asking for, if a team's asking about one of your players, well then, yeah, you got to, that's how negotiations work. You got to start high and, try to meet in the middle, right? I do not expect Connolly Early or Peyton Tolley going to the Astros for Isak Paredes. Any word on Kyle Teal? We did see the report on the Red Sox having interest, which I think is hilarious, to be honest with you. I don't know what's up with that. I think the White Sox really, I don't know. I don't think they should be trading away one of their guys, unless they got maybe like a good pitcher in return. That's the only way I would do it. Because I think you could see a scenario where both Kyle Teal and Edward Carrero could be in the fold. But if they could land someone for the rotation, I think that could be good. Friendly, why would Houston not trade Paredes? Listen, I think Paredes is a really nice fit with the Astros. He's a nice bat, fits perfectly at that ballpark. I think that would be to me, I don't know. Again, they do need pitching though. So if it helps balance out another area of the team, I can understand that. So, you could do it. They do have a lot of guys in the fold. So that would clear up a spot in the lineup. And then you got someone like Bryce Matthews, top prospect, maybe can get involved a bit more. So, I don't know. Yeah, if you can land a pitcher, I think you can maybe see that. I wonder, with Paredes, he's got a couple of years left of arbitration. He's going to be a little expensive, but he's going to give you good value. I wonder if that could be like where the Astros take on some kind of a contract. Like, I don't know, like Tyler Glasnow. Like, could you do something like that? I don't know how realistic that would be, but I don't know if the Astros would want to take on a contract like that. But, someone on a contract out there I think could make some sense. Any rumblings on the Cards? I saw Chaim Bloom walking around yesterday. Haven't seen him since. I don't know what else is going on. John, best options for third or center field for the Angels, in your opinion? It just depends on how far the Angels want to go when it comes to the spending. I mean, if I'm looking at just some lower tier options here, let me take a look-see. I mean, I don't know. Could they break the bank? I think someone like, Suarez would be fun. That wouldn't be a long-term commitment. Maybe Suarez. Polanco will be cheaper because of the injury history. I don't know. Could you just bring Moncada back? He did play well when he was healthy. Or could you go for a trade out there possibly? I don't think they'll be in the market for Bregman by any chance, by any means, but we'll see. We'll see on that. But yeah, the Angels, I don't know. It's just I can't really get a read on the Angels. They got all that stuff going on with all the court stuff, with the Tyler Skaggs case. What's going on with Rendon? Are they going to buy that out? What's going to happen there? But if they did buy out Rendon's last year, that could absolutely open something up. I think you're on I don't know how that works. So, it depends on what the buyout would be. But if they could save a good amount of money on that final year, maybe they could go after someone like Suarez. I think that could make some sense. Okamoto as well, James Hirota. Yep. Okamoto could be a fit. He could play some third. He can play some first. And Okamoto is a guy that they've been tied to a little bit this offseason. I forget which podcast said it, but one of the Angels podcasts said that there was interest from both sides. So, hey, maybe they're trying to get that Rendon thing figured out. And then they try to bring in Okamoto. I think Okamoto could be a very nice fit for them. He can bounce back and forth between the outfield, play a little bit of left field. I'm not sure about right. That could make some sense. With Soler, he's got a bit of an injury history, right? So that could be nice. Okamoto at third base. Something else happens. Maybe move out to the outfield. Whatever it may be. Now you got Shamwell at first, so we'll see what happens. But everybody, I do think I am going to wrap it up right there. I think we have gotten everything we can out of this. Edwin Diaz going to the Dodgers. Kyle Schwarber going back to the Phillies. So again, looking at this bullpen one more time. I mean, look at this bullpen, man. Edwin Diaz, Tanner Scott. If Tanner Scott bounces back to what he's capable of, that's the big key. Which I think in this role, I think you'll see a bit of the old Tanner Scott, right? That's a lethal back end of the bullpen there. And then the Phillies still looking strong with Schwarber in the fold. They got to make a couple more upgrades, though. Everyone, if you can, hit the like button for me. We're only at 136 likes. Come on, can we get to 200 likes by the time I click off of this? That would be very nice. But everybody, I'm out of here if you can. Once again, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.